Hotapu everyone! This is His Majesty Ra Sumabafagbemi, the world's first openly black African gay king. And the role of a king is to nourish and protect his people. And today I wish to do so by giving you a brief insight into what's happening in the starry news in the sky. On the screen here we see our beautiful lady Heteru, who is queen of the planet Venus, whose symbol is shown here. And Heteru means the palace above, or the skybound palace, and her name refers to you imagining and visualizing palaces at the heights, seeing the best in your life. Now, each planet and sign in our system of the Golden Beetle, astrology, I give a meme for each of those factors, and for Venus, Benosar, her meme is smile, my dear, visualize the best, being sure to leave behind all the rest. Take a moment, look into her beautiful African eyes, and see her saying from her eyes, with her eyes, to you, and to your heart, whoever you may be, smile, my dear, visualize the best, being sure to leave behind all the rest. This is the way to develop that part of your brain we call heteru. Now we'll see here in our wheel, here in green, the same symbol of Benosar Venus. We see here she's in 4 degrees of the scales of Libra, and she's retrograding, going backwards from our view. When a planet retrogrades, it means it's very close to the Earth. It's closest to the Earth in its orbit, so it's very bright. And she's the brightest planet in the sky after the moon. The sun is a star, not a planet, so it's the brightest planet. And the moon is actually a satellite, not a planet, technically, but we see the point. So, okay, so she is your talent, your capacity, your brain center for pleasure. She's the pleasure principle in you. Your IQ for understanding pleasure and dealing with pain intelligently. When she's damaged, you become an addict, you become indulgent, you become overweight, you become reliant upon chemicals. When she's strong, you're in control of all those things. You have healthy pleasure, fun pleasure that's very wholesome and inspiring. Okay, what's happening to her in the sky? Well, from this point of view of this wheel, here we see her conjunct Ra, or Aten Ra, the sun. Whenever a planet conjuncts Aten Ra, the sun, it's called combustion, meaning the sun, being the brightest thing in the sky, will, like it does during the daytime, blot out all the stars. The sun's light is so bright, it will wash out the lights of all other stars. So when a planet is combust or conjunct the sun, it becomes what we say burnt. It's made invisible. This means that the psychology of your pleasure principle, your love life, feels like it's not being heard, like it's being invisible. You may feel in your relationship you're not being heard, or you don't have what you need, or that the mate is too busy shining in their own department, in their own area, at work, or with the kids, or with activities, that they're ignoring you. Oftentimes, when Heteru Benosar is combust, issues with our fathers and our relationship with them, how our fathers in particular, when we were children, how our dads either supported our artistic creation, our artistic nature, supported how we looked, our self-image, or the father ignored us. We were invisible to dad, or he was too strict or too regimented about how we look and our artistic expression, etc. So every time Heteru combusts Ra, these thoughts of how dad dealt with my inner artist, my inner beautiful person, how dad dealt with that, my looks, resurface. And they will often play out in our relationships where what dad did to us or didn't do for us in this hetero area repeats in our relationship. You may find things that are Venusian, heteroi, like music, art, theater, fun, friends, being harder to grab, harder to connect with because it's combust, it's being burnt up, being made invisible by the sun. It's temporary, and it's a wide orb, so from hetero we have 4 degrees to the sun we have 17 degrees. That's a wide distance. So hetero is getting less and less burnt, more and more visible, because she's separating from the sun. So this should not be too intense now. But she's in her own sign. When a part of your psychology, called hetero, is in its own sign, it's called dignified. It's simply like being in your own house. That part of you is at home. It knows the environment. It knows where things are. It feels very comfortable, very at ease, very at home. So even though hetero is being burnt, it's not so bad because that part of your psychology, although feeling ignored and made invisible, still feels good in its skin somehow at this time. This will change in a few weeks when she goes into Scorpio here, the next sign of the Scorpion, which she hates. So when she conjuncts Ra and the Scorpion, she'll be combust and what's called detrimented, meaning annoyed, ineffective. So right now it's okay, but this will repeat in about a month, and you'll feel it more, the sting of it, in a couple of weeks. Okay? So let things go. It's only temporary right now if you're feeling invisible and your mate's not giving you much attention, or you're having daddy issues surrounding your artistic or your physical appearance. Now, there are a few other things I want to highlight here. We see here Bes, which is what we call Uranus in the West. We call it Bes in Egyptian, is exactly opposite Heteru. When this happens, you feel more that you want to have your own individuality in your relationship, to be free. You want to be more spontaneous. You want to do things that are different and unique right now. You don't want to be controlled in love. You want to be allowed to have your space, yet still be with your mate. Combine that with the combustion. If the mate is ignoring you because of this opposition with Uranus, with Bes, you're going to go off and do things that are unique to you. Well, while you're busy over there, my husband or wife or mate or lover, while you're busy, I'm going to go over here and do things that are fun for me. One more or a couple more components to the storyline is that we have here the nodes. Nekabet here, called the north node. Watch it opposite always, the south node. This is the vulture in Egypt on King Tut's forehead. And this is the snake on the pharaoh's forehead. It forms an almost exact square to Venus, to Heteru. This implies when you have the nodes and there's a planet squaring it exactly, it's called at the bends. What this means is that the planet who is at the T square, we drew a line from this node to this node, and then a T to Venus. You see it forms like a giant T in the heavens, letter T. The planet at the T square becomes very important, super important. It's very loud. So it's saying that this Venus retrograde time, where we look back in our lives, retrograde means looking back at something, reviewing something, letting things go, releasing bad habits with that part of you, with your addictions or with your love life. This is very emphasized. It's a wonderful time to reevaluate your love life, reevaluate your values and your economics, finances, release bad habits, release unwanted things, and embrace the new, the exciting, and the adventuresome. Now, in ancient Egypt, I want to show you here that, first of all, it shows here Venus is very close to Arcturus. This is Arcturus, A-R-C, which is here, A-R-C, Arcturus. Now, when Heteru conjuncts Arcturus, the star Arcturus, and the Kamal were much more into stars. They were the masters of the stars. Of course, of planets as well. But the stars were very much a part of Kamal astrology. So Venus with Arcturus is like becoming a leader in something. Arcturus is like a pathfinder, someone who can teach and guide and inspire. So now we're at an energy with this star conjuncting Venus to take control of your artistic nature, to go out, be active artistically, or in the humanities, or in politics. Go out and engage in social events, social artistic events. Make new friends. You may find you make more profits in your art if you do this so now. Finally, if we look at the other side of Kamal astrology, which is called visual astrology, okay, we see here the planet Venus. I'm going to expand the size of this. I'm going to make the east centered so we can see it a little clearer. Okay, maybe one more expansion here. All right, so here we see the Sun and Venus are near each other. It's quite distant here, so she's very bright. But she's also visually near Spica, the star of talent and ability, or gift, an innate talent. So visually, you see it's not on the chart here. We don't see Spica showing up here. But visually, going outside looking, before sunrise, you'll see Venus and Spica in the sky. Spica gives to Venus the power to get your needs met, to be very persuasive, to be able to draw people into your goals, your dreams, and visions. So you're going to make new friends now. This is very important right now to know what you need in relationships, hetero, opposing best. Go out, make new friends. With Spica, you have an ability to really express yourself well and to be artistic beautifully. And with the star of Arcturus, you want to share and teach and be involved and learn. And don't let things sweat you too much about your mate not giving you the attention you deserve right now. Instead of that, use this time to find new outlets of expression. Finally, in what's called the chiral calendar, an ancient text from the Nile Valley, this star of Spica is called the star of Ast or Isis. And the text reads from that papyrus, Ast goes forth, her heart being pleased on this day, the heritage being established unto her son, Heru. Note from Bakir, 1966, paragraph 23. It also says, Ast goes forth, her heart being happy, and Nebuchadnezzar in jubilation when they see Onophoris or Osar. Okay, so this is linking this star to the mother Ast to nourish something, to jubilate in something, to have joy with something. Go out, let your mate do their thing, find your way, and have a wonderful time with it. Each planet makes a sound, and I'm going to end this with this screen here, which is a tone generator I just found online. You can find any of them online. At the time that Heteru began this process, she was moving at a rate 16 times slower than 16 times slower than this frequency. I took 578, meaning her rate, I turned it into a hertz, a sound, at a factor of 16 times of that. So this is the note that you'll hear she made when she first began this process. Let's turn that down perhaps. It's near C sharp. Okay, we can perhaps play it an octave lower, so not quite so high. Okay. All right. That's the sound you want to use when you chant to her. Her sound is Aung, Shung, Ja, 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 Aung, Shung, Ja. That's the sound, the tone you want to use to help you invoke this part of her very directly on the sonic level into your cells. So you can be creative, inventive, find a new way, and enjoy pleasure. And that sound, that tone, will help you with smiling, my dear, visualizing the best, being surely behind all the rest in whatever you're going through in your love life, art life, or relationships. Enjoy working with heaven. And remember, always look up. Why? Because you are a star. Dwa Wen Hotepu.